like to thank all the audience who sent the questions to us. There are quite a number of very interesting questions. But at first, I'd like to invite Mr. Felipe DIAZ from Ministry of Environment of Chile. If Felipe, are you still here? Oh, there you are. Thank you very much. We have one question from, we actually got a few questions from our audience, but I was wondering if you could address one of them so that the other audience will be able to hear directly from you. And the question that I would like to pick up is the one that was asking about the credits. Okay, so I'm going to read the question for audience who may not be able to see the question. So the audience was asking, is the Chilean government aiming to recognize these well, it's written JCC, but I think they meant JCM carbon credits under the new carbon market to start in 2023. So polluters could offset their emissions and reduce taxes. So I know you answered that question in text, but could you share briefly about how you answered to that question?
Yeah, thank you, Kaoru. I will answer it in Spanish if it's not a problem.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. And y voy a citar lo que también.
Right, I'm about to quote what Carolina said, and the ministry is responsible on a national level of most of pollution caused by greenhouse gases. It's not casual. It has been like this for a really long time. And we have seen this in the annual reports, particularly the ones regarding their stock. And with the update of what's being defined through the environmental laws, that is the framework that shows the obligation that they have to be transparent with VDR. So this will be replacing some of these elements in developing countries. So information needs to be delivered. So regarding the compensation system, will start on 2023. This public regulation and citizens participated a lot in this. We received a lot of comments, a lot of feedback, and in the due process, this will be implemented. We will be analyzing the social problems as well as the credits. While doing this and following the criteria, well, currently we are seeing a lot of participation and the regulations are being revised and improved. So this will be presented for the Sustainable Ministry, which is a process that it's used on a national level, and hopefully it would be approved throughout this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that answer once again with the audience. It's great to hear directly from a government representative to hear the future plans. And thank you again for joining us again. And I'd like to invite someone else back to the screen. I'd like to invite Mr. HORIKAWA from the Ministry of the Environment, Japan. We have one question that I'd like to ask him if he could come back on with the video and also microphone. And so you talked about especially after COP26 and Paris Agreement, the Article 6 being agreed on, I think that the government of Japan is accelerating JCM and efforts around it. Also, you talked about increasing budget for next fiscal year. So I'm wondering, just in general, to sort of push JCM forward, and what were some of the things that how will the Ministry of the Environment Japan respond to new technologies, especially? There have been a lot of renewable solar energy projects, especially in Chile, I think, in the context of Chile. But I wonder what your expectations or what your responses to perhaps proposals with new technologies, including green hydrogen. So sorry, that was a bit of a long question, but you can take it away.
Thank you for the question. Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the question. As mentioned in the JCM presentation, we would like to actively support JCM for projects with advanced technology, such as green hydrogen, CCS, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, that's a very encouraging thing to hear from, also directly from a Japanese government representative. We are very much keen on hearing more about people proposing new projects with newer technologies. So I'd like to invite one more person back to the screen, Mr. Takahashi from Global Environment Center Foundation. There have been a few questions from their audience for him, and I'd like to pick a couple of them to ask. So one person asked, let me find that question because there are a lot of questions. Thank you very much for sending so many questions. It's great to see, but I just lost what I was going to ask. I think, oh, there. So one person asked, are afforestation projects eligible for JCM scheme? And if so, what are the conditions? So please.
Okay, thank you for the question. Afforestation project could be eligible for JCM scheme. It's very good to reduce drastically the emission of carbon dioxide. However, JCM model project requires the reduction of energy related to carbon dioxide emission with leading decarbonizing technology. So the most of the project for JCM model project introduces the facility or equipment to reduce carbon dioxide. So in a sense, just afforestation is not good enough as a JCM model project. So I repeat that it could be one of part of the JCM scheme. However, as the model project is not enough. This is the answer.
Thank you. And there's a similar question asking, I think there are two actually. There is hydropower approved technology under JCM, and there's another one asking if hydrogen production is eligible under JCM. Would you like to address those two questions, hydropower and hydrogen production?
Okay, the first one, the hydropower project. Yes, the hydropower project has been increasing the number of selection in JCM model project. First one selected in I think 2016, and now count more than 10 projects. So it has becoming popular these days. So and the countries are Indonesia and the Philippines. So it depends on the topography or to have good river or water stream. Unfortunately, Chile has not have no hydropower project. However, I think the country has such good resources and there is a possibility good for this technology. And the second one is the hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen project could be the project for JCM, and as a JCM model project, it requires to monitor the consumption of the hydrogen to replace the fossil fuel oriented carbon dioxide. So to be able to how to be able to monitor the consumption of the hydrogen. It's a key point. So we need to check the project whether it deserve for JCM. So I would like to know more about the project. So we have the consultation program. So in our homepage, so they propose a consultation, and we accept and check whether it is deserved for the project as a JCM model project. So I appreciate if we could have more information about the system.
Thank you very much. And there are more questions for you if you'd like to address them. The one question that I'd like to take up is what is the position of JCM financing regarding biomass related projects such as biomass power generation, biomass supply production, such as white or black pellets? Would you care to address that question as well?
Okay, biomass project is also important, especially increased number, project number this couple of years. So biomass power generation system is good, and also biomass boiler is good. And it is also important to supply power, to monitor the power to be supplied. And what you mentioned, supply, what did you, the question, supply? Yamaguchi-san?
Sorry, biomass supply production.
Okay, supply product is not good for it itself. We also need to monitor the biomass has been consumed and generate power and replace the, for example, grid power or something. So just to produce biomass is not good enough. So we also would like to know the proposal, if we could have a proposal by the consultation program. So I appreciate it also.
Thank you. And just one more question, and we'll conclude the Q&A. So one audience was asking for the JCM financing, the project could be both green and brownfield projects.
So also we need to check what is green and how the project is for as a black. So we also need to check the system or the proposal. So I also appreciate we could have the consultation for the program or the project.
Thank you. Thank you very much for addressing all those questions. Like Takahashi-san was saying, if there are any proposals, any plans for the project, I think it'll be a great first step will be to contact Global Environment Center Foundation for the consulting meeting. And Takahashi-san, thank you very much again. And I'm aware that there are other questions that are being sent to the Q&A menu. Our colleagues or speakers will respond to your questions in text on the Q&A menu. So stick around for that. We'll make sure to answer your question. But unfortunately, we can't take up your question to answer live right now since we have limited time. So